Action. Okay. Good morning, everybody. This is Ralph Wakeman. I'm sorry I missed last week. I got sidetracked and the time just got away. I don't know. I wasn't ready. Guess what? I'm not ready today. But today, I'm hoping that you will call me. I'll get a first phone call with a question, is what I'm hoping for sometime today during my talk with you all. Okay? So, here we go. My phone number is 540-459-8422. No, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Let me go back here. My number here at the store is 540-459-1888. 1888, the year the Washington Monument was put up. Also the year of Jack the Ripper. And some other things. I think some people believe that Jesus was going to come back or something then too. But as you can tell, he hasn't, but still waiting. And it could happen any day. All right, I'm going to take this off. My hair looks bad. But call me. Please call me. I really appreciate it if I get a call from somebody here today, or somebody email me at Shenandoah SewandVac, one word, Shenandoah SewandVac at gmail.com. You can even make comments in the Facebook and in the YouTube channel, but I don't know if I'll see them as quickly as I would with my email. And I'm not looking at my email as much as I used to. And I don't know if it's because I'm getting old, too busy, or who knows? I just might not. Comments sent with stars will appear here. I don't know what that means, but that's what it says. So on YouTube, this will stay up forever. On Facebook, it'll only stay up until they decide to take it down. And that's the way it goes. I get more people actually watching Facebook than I do YouTube, which I'm hoping that will change as time goes by, because I almost didn't have my second phone here with me today. And I wouldn't have been able to do both at one time. I've got a phone that's upright. I feel Catholic. Phone that's upright, and then a phone that's horizontal here, because YouTube is this way. Facebook is this way. One for phone, one for the TV, which I like watching TV. So I'm old-fashioned. Most pictures were called landscape pictures in the day, unless you were doing portrait pictures of people only, and then you would have the picture going up and down that way. All right, I have no notes, so we're on our own today. One of the things I do want to talk about is that I am not getting any younger. I was just talking with a friend of mine who has a business or a ministry or a mission that he's not as old as I am, but he's getting up there, and we were talking about what to do when we're not around anymore. And you never know. Don't know. I've had friends, even while I was in high school, that decided that, well, maybe they didn't decide, but they weren't able to be around anymore. And so that's kind of a sad thing to think of, and all the things that they miss out on here in this world. But we got the rest of eternity to figure that out after we've left here. So there you go. All right. So I am thinking in January of seeing if there's anybody interested in learning a skill that will take them far. Well, maybe not far. If you saw the rest of this building, you'd understand. You go, what? But no, if you wanted to learn how to maybe rewire lamps, fix vacuum cleaners, fix sewing machines, there you go. Or, want to learn these kind of things, I am going to be taking names, and what's the other? So take names and addresses or something. Anyway, I'm going to be taking names of people, and I've had people in the past offer, they wanted to learn, and I wrote the information down, and if you saw my story, you'd understand why I'm asking for names again, because I've misplaced them and lost them. But there are people that would like to learn how to fix their own sewing machines, or maybe someday want to go into business. It's not very lucrative, but I did feed my family for 30-some years doing this. We didn't always have the best, but lentils and beans are pretty good, actually. That was a pretty good lentil stew. It was cheap and was very tasty. But anyway, so if anybody's interested in wanting to apprentice or wanting to come alongside and maybe help me clean this place up a little bit, I know I've got some people that have offered that part, but I want to have people that will learn how to do what I do, and either help me here at the store while they're learning, or to go out on their own wherever they may live, whether it's in the county here or some other county. Wait a minute, there goes my mail person. He's looking. No, he's not looking, but I'm going to say mailman because it was a he. I think he identifies as one. He looks like one. So I don't want to offend anybody, but I think it was a man. Okay. That's my first thing. Sewing machines, vacuum cleaners, lamps. I have had people work for me. I usually hired homeschoolers to work for me, and they learned very quickly, within months, of how coming in a couple times a week, learning how to work on sewing machines, vacuum cleaners, and lamps. And it was nice for me. I didn't do that when I first went into the business, and that was kind of sad for my employees because I had them hand me things, and I fixed stuff and didn't even talk to them about it. I talked to them a lot, but not about fixing things. And I feel like I have helped several people to get real jobs in engineering. And I'm not talking about the trains. I joke with my daughter about that, but in engineering, like in computer sciences or mechanical engineering, things like that, I've helped several kids learn and have gone on and are making a living, a good living, doing that. And so not only would you learn how to fix things, but you would also learn how to think. That's one of the important things that we don't do too much anymore. We learn how to push buttons and scroll and swipe. Ooh, scroll and swipe. I'm learning this stuff. Okay, scroll and swipe and all that kind of stuff, but it doesn't really, it affects your brain, that's true, but it's not always the type of effect you want it to have. All right, vacuum cleaners. Anybody want to call about a vacuum cleaner question? Since nobody's watching, I got a feeling I'm not going to get a call. So, I've talked about the vacuum cleaner clogs and how to solve those kind of problems. I've had some people coming in wanting hoses. And I take old hoses. I sell them very cheap. Old hoses for vacuum cleaners that I don't use these hoses often, because these hoses are what come with some of the vacuum cleaners I sell, that if you twist it like this, look at that. See what it does? It makes me disappointed that companies would consider this to be a quality hose. Because when you do this, the vacuum goes, that's an illustration, a demonstration of the sounds they make. When your vacuum cleaner goes from, that is when you've got a clog and you need to take care of it. Either it's a clog because it's twisted, like a garden hose, which, by the way, I have to confess that when I was much younger, I turned my grandmom's basement into an apartment. I was living down there, and I would help her every once in a while. And that's why I was there, was to help. But anyway, I would go out and help her. One time we were in the garden, and we were trying to water some of the plants out there because they grew lots and lots of vegetables and flowers and things. And the water wouldn't come out. And so we were looking at the hose, which was not a smart thing to do. And I unclogged the hose and splat right in the face of my grandmother. That was not nice. She laughed. I did not, because I didn't think that was a very nice thing to do. But that is something you got to watch out for, especially if you go around corners, things like that. The longer the hose, it's nice because you can go a long ways with it. Ooh, this is pretty cool. Woo. Okay. You can go a long ways with it. But when you're doing that, okay, you've got a problem because it can get caught under furniture or all kinds of stuff. And so you want to watch out for that. All right. I don't even have my suit jacket on today. I've got it here, but I'm not going to put it on it. All right, so hose clogs can happen because of it being crimped. And also, you have to be careful when you're cleaning your car in the garage. Make sure you put your hose away before you move your car. I've had several vacuums come in that were the wire reinforced hose, which is what I go to now. I don't do this type of hose. This is called crush proof, which is kind of a lie because they do go bad. But if you ran over it, it would pop back into place. But the problem is, if you run over the wire reinforced hose with a car, you get a big flat spot on it. And that's where the dirt's going to collect. It goes in there and just says, hey, I'm not going any further. I'm going to make sure you take care of that. All right? Any other questions on vacuum cleaners today? Yes. I don't see that hand. Is there another? Okay. Now we're going to go to sewing machines. This past week, I had some machines come in, and the problem with them was that pieces broke on them from putting them away or putting something on top of them, especially the little bobbin winder. The new sewing machines out there today, and even not just the cheap ones, but the expensive ones, many of them use a plastic pin to put your bobbin on to wind your bobbin. And what happens is, if you come across the top of your machine, bam, it might snap that top off, which is what happened to one of my ladies, either her or one of her students' sewing machines. And so I've got to order a new piece, and it's not cheap. Plus, I've got to take the whole machine apart like a toaster. You take the two halves open, and all the parts are inside there. It's a mess. So you got to take that apart and then put it back together again. So be careful if you have one of these newer machines with a little plastic bobbin piece, not to be rough with it, not to put something on top of the machine. You just want to make sure that you treat it gingerly, okay? Because in the old days, you drop them down the stairs, you still might break that bobbin winder because the metal on them, they called it pot metal. I don't know why they call it pot metal, but it would break very easily. If you twist it a little bit or you tighten up the screw too much, these pieces of metal would just break. I had a car one time. It was a Pacer. I mean, remember what a Pacer, it looked like a giant fishbowl. Well, the handles on the inside of the car were made out of pot metal. And it was an extremely, extremely cold day. And I was going to take one of the girls that we went to school together. Anyway, she went to get out of the car, and the handle broke off her hand. She says, aha, I see what you're trying to do. Ha, ha, ha. No, that wasn't true. So I went to open my car door, and mine broke off too. So we were both holding handles to the door. Had to crank the window down. This was back when we had crank windows, and open up the door from the outside. That was not good, and I had to go get those fixed. But it was embarrassing, and the metal is cheap. So you got to be gentle with some of the metal in your sewing machines, believe it or not. And sometimes they don't use it for the main parts. They use it for the accessories, like the bobbin winder or the presser foot lifter or some of the knobs and things. And you just have to be careful with that stuff because once it breaks, you can't really put it back together. You can't weld it. You can't do anything. Epoxies don't work too well. I have done some, but plastic actually is easier to fix with broken pieces than the pot metal is to fix, which is kind of weird because I usually say metal is better, but in this case it wasn't. All right. So I've talked about sewing machines for a little bit, and it's 1:15 now. Boy, I'm moving on fast, aren't I? All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is lamps. Lamps. Christmas time is coming, and it's getting darker, so you're using your lamps more often. All right, and when you're using your lamps, you turn them on, and there's different kinds of light. You've got some light that's the incandescent light bulbs are usually fairly bright, and they get hot. And in the wintertime, that's nice. You can put your hand over the bulb, kind of warm your hands up, that kind of thing. It's good. In the summertime, not so much, because then your air conditioner has to work harder. But in the wintertime, an incandescent bulb will put out a lot of heat. Matter of fact, my kids, we got them when they were growing up, the girls, we got them an easy bake oven. And what they used to bake cakes, bake these little cakes, they were great. Bake these cakes and things was a 100-watt light bulb. The bulb got hot enough to bake a cake inside of a little chamber that they had. And one of our presidents, I even voted for him, I think, had a deal where he said, oh, we need to have fluorescent light bulbs instead of incandescent because they use so much electricity. And they do. They use about 4 times the amount of electricity than one of those corkscrew fluorescent light bulbs. Well, the problem was they didn't get hot. So your easy bake oven, you couldn't fix at the time. Just wasn't able to be used. Now, they're back again, by the way. By the way, when they did that kind of thing, people started to say, okay, we can't make a 100-watt light bulb. That's what the government said. So they came out with 90-watt light bulbs. So they did a good, they have to bake longer, but they did get hot and they did the job. Now we're back to being able to use incandescent bulbs if we want. Problem was, once we decided, oh, we're going to bring them back, all the companies had left America and gone to Asia anyway. So we had shot ourselves in the foot. Or as the old military expression, we were hoisted by our own petard. We did it to ourselves and thought we were doing a great job. All right, so we had the fluorescent tube bulbs, those corkscrew thingies that kind of make a humming noise, and they kind of put out a weird kind of light. That wasn't really the kind of light that a normal light bulb put out. And so some people didn't like those because of that. They wouldn't fit, they couldn't put those shades on top that kind of pressed over the bulb, and that they didn't look right, they didn't look the same, that kind of thing. And also, they would go bad. And they had mercury inside of them. Oh, we're helping the environment there, aren't we? So anyway, they had mercury inside of them. So now they're locked out as anathema. We don't want to use those things anymore. So we got something better. We got LED bulbs. And I've shown you mine that I have here. They put out a lot of light, and you can get different types of light now with them. You can get the bright white, or you can get the blue light, kind of like what they do in these car headlights and things. They kind of hurt your eyes, but they're blue light, so they're not quite as hard on your eyes. And then they got cool white, which is kind of a yellowish light. So you can get whatever color light you want from your light bulbs. And now Christmas is coming, and you can get night light bulbs for your little night lights that you have. You can get LED night light bulbs too now. You don't have to buy the regular old light bulbs. Now, the little night light bulbs were 4-watt light bulbs, is what they were for the little night lights. I had one that had a little bird's nest on it when I was a kid. And it got warm, not hot, but it got warm, and this little bird's nest, it was a bluebird nest. It's coming back to me now. And you put the rubber top on top of it, and it looked kind of cool, and it kept me from being quite as afraid at night. And so I used that, and as growing up. Still nobody watching, but I'm still talking. All right, so nowadays you can buy an LED light bulb. Doesn't get near as warm, hardly at all, and it's brighter even with a lot less electricity. A light bulb, remember I said the regular light bulb uses 100 watts of electricity. The fluorescent tube ones, they used about 25 watts of electricity. Lots of money saved. Well, the LED light bulbs use 8 to 9 watts of electricity. Super bunch less, okay? Super bunch less. That's a technical term. And you could really reduce the electric bill in your house by switching over to LED bulbs. But I think they have put something in the LED bulbs to keep them from lasting so long. They could last forever. So could a light bulb. But they've done something to the LED bulbs that a circuit will break inside after so long. Kind of sad. I'm going to try to figure out a way to fix those, and then I'm going to talk to you all about that, because I think light bulbs should last pretty much forever. Especially now that they're using so little electricity, that I think that'd be a great deal. Okay, so LED, there's probably people out there that have already done it, so you might go on YouTube and look around, but be careful, because a lot of times you look on YouTube, people will say, hey, look what I'm going to do, and then if you watch to the end of the video, you find out, no, they didn't do it, and if you start following along, you've broken whatever you have. So you got to watch the whole thing, and then make sure they're not lying to you, because I like plants. And sometimes you're watching a video about a plant, and you'll see how they took a plant and stuck it in a banana, or, you know, in their ear. I don't know what else. And then the next video, the next picture, they show this plant just growing out of whatever it is they put it in. And you come to find out later, they're lying. But you watch it because it's very interesting. But you find out they're lying to you. That is not a good thing. And I think that there ought to be, well, there ought to be a law. But no, if you make a law, then they're going to come after everybody. And I think that you just need to be, when I was in school, in business class, we had this thing called buyer beware. Okay. Now we have government agencies and private agencies that go around trying to find, lies in the media and lies in the news and advertising and that kind of stuff. But sometimes you just have to use your head and think it through. Say, well, I'll try this out. And if it doesn't work, I'm not going to do it anymore. I've done that a lot. And I've done some things sometimes because they showed it on TV or they showed it on YouTube or something. And I thought, this sounds good. But it wasn't. I mean, it didn't work. Still a good idea. It just wasn't true. Alrighty, now, cleaning. I'm not even going to talk about cleaning because I don't have anything for you today. I've already talked about just taking a clean towel with a little water on the towel, not in your carpet. Keep your carpet dry, and rubbing that onto a spot on your carpet and seeing if you can get that spot to come out. Because a lot of times that's all it takes, just to make the carpet a little moist with the towel, and then take the dry part of the towel, go back over to dry off that carpet, and bam, the spot is gone. And you're thinking, what in the world? Just with plain water? Yeah, sometimes water does the job. Because if you use chemicals and you use the wrong kind of chemicals, it doesn't take the spot out. It makes the spot part of the carpet. Not a good idea. Not a good idea. All right, it's a couple weeks to Thanksgiving. And now if you don't want to hear any kind of talk about morality or being nice or whatever, just turn me off now. Of course, you don't even have me on. You don't even have me on. So I just want to say that a friend of mine, well, I was a camper. I was a counselor. I was a camper too, but not this camp. I was a counselor in a camp for the disabled years ago. And God changed my life in working with that. Because you see these kids that can't walk, can't talk, maybe can't see, can't hear, those kind of things, and they're happy. They're happy. And it really irks me when I hear on the news people saying we should have the right to eliminate these children before they grow up. Because they're not going to have a happy life. They're going to have a sad life. Well, one of my campers passed away a week ago. Name was Michael. I didn't think he could talk. No one else, except his mom, I think, didn't think he could talk. But he could smile, and he could make eye motions and arrangements and things. What happened was he had a twin brother. When they were born, he had a brain aneurysm that messed him up. But you know what? He knew who Jesus was. And he was just a great kid. And he passed away. He lived to be over 50 years old. Okay? And just a happy... Matter of fact, one of my jobs was to go visit these kids in their homes after camp was over, just to find out if they learned anything, and also to tell the family about Jesus and stuff. So I went to this home, and this mother started talking about things that went on in our cabin. I had a little boy in the cabin that was deaf. And so when we go to bed at night, I would turn the lights out, and close everything down. And I would wake up in the middle of the night and the lights were on in the room. I had no idea. Well, come to find out, one night I stayed awake and the little boy that was deaf had gone out and turned on the lights. Just so he didn't have it in the dark. And I learned to leave the door open a little bit to let the light come in from the hall. I go to visit Michael in his home, and his mom says, "So tell me about this problem you have with your lights." And I said, wait a minute. How do you know these things? Did someone else tell you? No, Michael told me. She had a relationship with her son, unbelievable. They communicated so well, and she took the time to learn from him and to listen to him. Now, in our world today, we'd say, well, he couldn't hold down a real job. He couldn't do anything like that. He was not an asset to society. Well, I would argue with that. A lot. And unfortunately, I feel like our country is kind of going in the wrong direction. We are looking at being ungrateful for what we have been given, and we want to try to control things ourselves. Matter of fact, here we go. Here's the Bible verse that I want to look at today, and this is not in the King James. I'm reading this so that people that don't know anything about the Bible can hear what it says. And if you want to, please study it. Study it. And when I was raised, it was always the King James Bible, because if it was good enough for Paul, it's good. I mean, if it was good enough for the people in England, it's good enough for us. So study this. This is very interesting. This is for people. This is talking about. Paul was talking to little Timothy. Well, I don't know how little he was, but talking to Timothy about what you're going to be facing in this world. And he says, for people will love only themselves and their money. They will be boastful and proud, scoffing at God, disobedient to their parents. Oh, come on now. Most kids, they want to do what their parents want them to do. And ungrateful. Ungrateful. They will consider nothing sacred. Okay? They're ungrateful. They don't care. You do something for them and they say, well, you should have done this for me. And I'm thinking, yeah, what do you deserve? It's not heaven. You don't deserve that. And I'm not going to say what you do, but none of us deserve anything. We should be grateful for every bit of sunshine we get, which is beautiful today. I don't like the cold wind. But hey, listen, it comes with the seasons here in the valley. So just be careful. It just says here, and this is in Paul is giving advice here in I think it's Corinthians. I didn't write it down. I am such a whatever. Okay, be thankful in all circumstances. Okay, for this is God's will for you who belong to Christ Jesus. So if you don't belong to Jesus, still be thankful. If you don't care about God or anything like that, be thankful. What does it hurt to be thankful to somebody when they open the door for you? Whether you're a guy or a girl, I don't care. I thank people when they open the door for me, especially when I've got my hands full. All right, be thankful. Be thankful for. You say, "Wow, look at this sunshine." Don't always look at the bad side of things. Oh, look at this rain. Look at this wind. It's so cold. It's just awful. I hate it here. Really what bothers me is when people say they hate their life. When people say they hate their life, what can they be thankful about? What do they really want in life? Do they want everything to go their way? If everything went their way, where would the adventure be? All right. So enough of that. I've talked way too much about things. I'll be talking about thankfulness next week. But this time I was talking about being ungrateful. Ungrateful. It's not a good thing. Don't be ungrateful. Be thankful. And something that happened yesterday. Two things happened yesterday, which was kind of interesting to me. I was closed, or I'm supposed to be. I come in here and I hide and try to get work done. I had a customer drive up, come into the store, and I was getting ready to just kind of say, listen, I'm closed right now, whatever. She just came by to thank me that what I had done actually worked. I was shocked and amazed that she was thankful enough to come by and saw my truck sitting out here and come in and tell me. I was very, very happy about that. And then I had another lady call me on the phone to thank me for fixing her sewing machine. She didn't have to. She already paid me. I made money off of that woman. But no, she was thankful that I fixed her sewing machine for her. Now, what does it hurt you to thank somebody? What does it take off of you? I have heard people swear at people because they didn't like some of their political views, or they didn't like their, as we've been talking about, religious views. So if you don't like those religious views, don't talk about them. But still be thankful that the person has done something for you, or the person even smiles. I used to live in Philadelphia, and when I would be driving down the road, people would raise a finger at you as you're driving down the road. And here in the valley, we do that. We're driving down the road and you see somebody you go, and if it's somebody you really like, you're driving down the road and you recognize who they are, you go while you're driving along. Or if you're really excited and there's kids in the car and you want to get them going, you go and drive along. Well, in Philadelphia, they did sort of the same thing, but I don't think they were thankful. I don't think they were grateful. I think they were saying, get out of my way. So they raised another finger, and it doesn't symbolize thankfulness. So, all right. So much for this today. Hey, I got a caller. Oh, they went away. Oh, man. Okay. So, if you really want to, you can call me really anytime. But I've been doing this now for about 3 months, and I've gotten no calls on purpose. I have gotten calls. No calls on purpose about the store here, about questions about their sewing machine or vacuum cleaner, their lamp, or their small appliance, KitchenAid mixer, whatever. So next week, think about it. You're all watching this some other time. Think about it, and maybe between 1 and 1:30, and if I'm busy, I could be on the phone for an hour. That'd be fun. I mean, I'm not doing this to make money, as you can tell. I'm just, cha-ching, there's a little bell that goes off every time somebody says hi. No, it's not that. I just like to help people. And the older I get, the more I like to do that. So if you have your political signs, I don't care what party, but if you have your political signs of this plastic board here, don't throw them away. Drop them off here at the store, because I want to make something with them someday. Now that I'm done with my paperwork, I'm legal with the state or with the federal government right now, and I'm kind of happy about that. Oh, look at it! It will make, I can make this place brighter. Woo! Dark, bright. Okay, but I this kind of stuff, I want to make some things with them. So if you have some of those, drop them off here at the store. And also these hanging baskets that you had in the front of your house that are, all the plants are dead, and you're just going to take them to the dump and throw them away. Well, that soil in there, I would like to have to mix with new soil to keep it light. It's very nice soil for that. And so if you have some of those kind of things, just call me or drop by some of that stuff. So kind of crazy. Don't forget your Christmas decorations. If they've got lights in them and things and they're not working, bring them back quick. Because when it gets to the holidays themselves, I get so busy, I can't promise you I'll take care of them. I try to, but then I'm letting other people down, with other things. So thank you so much. You all have a great day. What else? I think that's it. Please, any suggestions of things for me to talk about? If I have a problem with the clothing I'm wearing, I'm not going to not wear clothing, but I mean, if you want me to dress up a little bit differently or whatever, I will see what I can do. All right, so until we talk again, I'm going to say goodbye to you first on Facebook here, down here on the bottom, right down here. All right, you guys, thank you all for watching. Have a great day. Where does it say stop? Does it say stop here? Finish. It says finish. I hit finish, and I'm not even Norwegian. So there you go. Say goodnight, Gracie. Oh, I missed it. Good night, Gracie. All right, so you up here on the top, thank you all for watching. Thank you all for putting up with me here these last 20-some minutes. 33 minutes. Wow. All right. Please leave comments underneath my video if you want, or email me at Shenandoah SewandVac@gmail.com. Or you can call this phone number here, 540-459-1888. All right? Thank you all very much. You all have a great week. Hope to see you all next week, maybe live. Or maybe I should do it in the evening sometime. Think about it. Maybe I have to do it in the evening. That would be fun too. All right. Bye. Do you want to cancel? Yes, I do. I want to get done here. I got things to fix. Do I want to keep this? Yes, I want to keep this. Say goodnight, Gracie. Good night, Gracie. That's fun.